will be. Hey, what's up, you guys? Good morning. Happy Monday. It is about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I've been up since 4, preparing and just kind of getting myself in the mind frame to come to you guys and just, I don't know, just be open, be transparent about where I am today, how I got here, and what's the journey been like while I've been just trying to get my feet on the ground. So, first off, I want to just welcome you guys back to Dear 20 Something. It's been off for about maybe 2 months, maybe 3, I don't know. My last one I did about 3 months ago, and that was when I was still living in Alabama for a little bit. So I haven't done anything towards the podcast since then, and a lot has happened, so I need to catch you guys up and just kind of dive right in. So one of the things that I want to discuss on this episode of Dear 20 Something is transitions and the feeling of being stuck. And I think it's necessary because that's literally where I am right now. I'm somewhere in between feeling like I don't want to do anything and possibly I'm not doing enough. And that's just where I am. So thank you guys so much for being patient with me. And I've been I haven't been on the podcast, but I have been working to get back on the podcast. So one of the things that I have gotten done was I just paid to get my laptop fixed. It was over $200, and I'm just buckling down on things that I need and making investments that's going to benefit me in the long run. So this laptop, short story, this laptop, I've had it for over 3 years, but within the first year of me getting it, it stopped working, and I had 2 other laptops other than this one. Funny story, technology is never on my side. All my things, like some form or another, break. So yeah, I had like 2 extra laptops on deck when this one broke on me. So I didn't really use it for the next 2 years while I was in school, and then out of school I was using my other older laptops until I lost my laptop, which I believe somebody actually stole it from me, the laptop, and then I had no choice but to use my phone. And then I just kind of got tired of that. Since I moved here, got tired of using my phone on small screens because I use my phone for so much, and it just became to be much of an issue when I started to do more. So I needed my laptop, so I buckled down and I made that purchase to get my laptop fixed so I can be able to edit faster and things like that. And I also am working on getting a new mic. That's also been one of the reasons why I've been slow to podcast, because I've been trying to get better equipment. My mic that I currently have now is good, but it's just kind of small, and I need more. And if I want to have guests on, I want my setup to be a little bit more professional. So that's what I've been working on too. And for the biggest excuse, the other ones are not excuses, but this one fairly falls in that category. So the other excuse is basically that, I just been trying to figure out what is it that I want to talk about. And every time I get there, it just feels like something comes up to make me feel as though I could be talking about something else. And then I keep finding that, I come to a place where I question, is what I'm talking about relatable to the purpose of the podcast? So is this anywhere within the reasons why you created this podcast, this safe haven to express yourself? Sometimes I want to talk about, artists. I want to talk about social media. I want to talk about celebrities or anything that's going on, but I'm not a celebrity journalist or anything like that. So I wanted to keep it why I started it, but I don't think it's a bad idea for me to venture off sometimes. So I've been battling between what avenue, what audience, what content, what type of content that I want to give out and stuff like that too. But I just got to remember to stay within the mind frame of where I was when I started this and what I want to get out and how I want to help people and benefit people out of that. So keep that in mind. But I think it's okay for me to just kind of dabble into those things because it's called Dear 20-something. These are the things that we care about and are interested in. So those are just a few of the, I guess you can call those excuses. But in my life, I try to make room for none. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and issue you guys just a little musical break. And when we come back, we're just going to dive right back into the episode. Thank you for listening to Dear 20-something. It's your girl, ittybittyjhay. Thank you.
Back home smoking legal. I got more slaps than the Beatles. Foreign shit running on diesel, dog. Playing with my name, that shit is lethal, dog. Don Corleone. Trust me, at the top it isn't lonely. Everybody acting like they know me, dog. Don't just say it down, you gotta show me what you gotta do. Bring the clip back empty. You asked to see the ball, so they sent me, dog. I just broke up.
Alright, you guys. Hey, it's your girl, ittybittyjhay, and if you're just tuning in, we're talking about transitions and the feeling of being stuck. So, as I was telling you guys before, I was in a place of feeling like, I don't want to do anything, but I know I need to get back on a podcast. And I had a few people, not a lot, just a few, ask me about it. And I guess it's really my own doubts, like personal doubts, maybe small insecurities that's been hindering me, telling myself that I need this, that, or just kind of running from what it is that I need to do. And I do that so very well, and I'm kind of tired of that. So I made a deliberate effort to kind of like just create a system, create something, like some structure for myself. So I was having a hard time getting back in the mood of feeling like anything. So I was listening to a few podcasts that was recommended to me, and I have to be honest, it's been a while since I've been even able to bring myself to listen to one. And when I say being able, I mean, it just felt like I didn't want to be motivated. I'm not sure how many of you ever felt like that. And I mean, to elaborate more, it just felt like I was going back down this rabbit hole of feeling like I just don't want to do anything. And I don't know if that comes from being tired or always just running and chasing after something, and then just I need, like, let me just lie here and do nothing. And then the other feeling was that I'm not doing enough. And right now, currently, that's where my mindset was just yesterday. And I find that sometimes, because I'm so used to just like fighting and just going and just continue to just go after what I want, whenever I'm stationed and idle, I feel like I'm not doing enough. And I have to get to the point where I'm okay with just relaxing sometimes and feeling like I'm not behind. But honestly, I feel like we can give that feeling, like we can blame that on somewhat social media, because social media gives us this idea that everyone around us are doing more than we are because they're posting about it. So when somebody makes a post in this generation, it makes it real. It makes you question, what are you doing, and what are they doing that you are not? So I find myself getting there sometimes, but I have to counteract those thoughts with like positive things and tell myself, like, this is for you, and what would be for you is for you, and your journey is your journey. So you can't or try not to get discouraged by somebody else's stuff. But I feel like sometimes that can be inevitable, but if I had to just really elaborate on it, it's just, I don't know, I have this thing sometimes where I feel like I'm not worthy, and I think it definitely stems from my childhood, so that's probably where that comes from. And yeah, it sounds confusing, I know, but that's just really how my thoughts formulate in my head, and they just be flying through my mind. And because it's so many thoughts all the time, it's kind of hard to grab one idea and hold on to it. So I've been there. It's really like a sticky situation, which is crazy because I've been doing a lot. So I don't know. So what I want to talk about transitions and how I tackled them and how they affected me. And I feel like it's a great topic because at some point or another we all have to deal with it, So an actual definition of transitions means the process of a period of changing from one state or condition to another. So one transition that I made was the big move to Georgia to kind of start my career as a professional dancer, get the training that I need. Always wanted network and kind of just start that chapter of that life. So that was a major thing for me because how the transition came, it didn't come when I wanted it to come. It came abruptly, and it came with no security net. And I've been okay in those spaces of no security net. But this time it was completely different because it just how it happened. So having to kind of uproot my life abruptly and kind of get here, thank God, I had some people around me, and I was able to have or gain and obtain a job before I got here and a place to live and things like that. So I'm really blessed and I'm really grateful for that, because that would have made, I think, the situation worse had I not had those things. So I'm pretty blessed and grateful. So having a new job secured in the city, that made me feel a little bit more comfortable. And it's not your traditional corporate 9-to-5 job, which means I have a lot more flexibility than an average person. So when I started, I was just thinking, this is great because I can find other streams of income, or I can train and work on my craft with all this time that I have in my life now that I always wanted. So I made it a point to set small goals towards my craft. So I did things like creating a financial budget, which I would probably for example, I would just do 2 classes per week, or 3 if I can, because training, you have to pay for your training. It gets pretty expensive. If you don't have a job or whatever, it can get pretty expensive depending on how much you train. So I had to create a small budget to go in this world. And then I also wanted to just buy new things for the podcast and things that I need in life or whatever. But I've just been running around so much, and I wanted to start or continue my regimen that I created for myself to keep me centered. And I have a small thing called mind, body, and soul that I have to do daily. And it gets me grounded. So if my chakras are not aligned, I know, and I would do my regimen, my mind, body, and soul regimen to get me back there. And for some reason, since since I got here, I have a hard time committing to these things that I promised myself before I got here. So I feel like those things can play into why I probably feel like I'm not doing enough, or I feel inadequate to certain things, because I'm not centered. And I've been moving so much, I hadn't noticed it until I'm having downtime and I'm thinking oh my gosh, you could be doing this, but I'd rather sleep, so I don't know, that happens all the time, but I'm working on that. And I noticed, over time, I noticed while I was here, I haven't meditated today, I haven't read a book in a month. That's crazy to me, that these thoughts occur, because before, a year ago, when I was in a dark place of going into a rabbit hole of thinking, like, you know, I'm not good enough, or like, who's gonna listen to me, or why am I doing this, or why is it taking me so long to accomplish this, or I feel like a failure. I find myself trying to occupy those spaces again, but I have to make sure to shine a light in that dark hole so that I can remember that, you know, there's light at the end of this tunnel. Try to make it to the end. And that's how I keep myself somewhat sane. I don't know, like, I feel like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm crazy, because I'm not, but like, as an artist, as a creator, like, I feel like our minds go into so many dimensions that is not easy to explain to a person who's not a dreamer or who's not a creator. They're more on a realistic side of life, and I'm more on the optimistic side of life. So my thoughts are just as jumbled and as like or jumbled as like assorted fruit. So I don't know. That's just where I am on that. So I'm working on trying to get back into that. And I'm not gonna lie, I allow, you know, some of my personal life to occupy the spaces of like my hustle and my grind, and that kind of stopped me too. But that situation wasn't benefiting me, so I made a choice to remove that distraction so that I can continue to focus on what it is that I need to focus on. And that's really all it was, a distraction. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So, and most times when I'm feeling like that, and I know everybody experiences that, I think that it's important for us to remember, and the biggest thing is to find time to recharge so that I am fully aware and you're fully aware of the task ahead. And most importantly, to just be fully functional. You have to be able to function properly to help someone effectively or do your job effectively. So it's important to get some rest and recharge. The only problem with that is when I have that time to rest, I'm thinking like, damn, I could be doing something. So it's really like a never ending like battle. So typically my typical week, you know, I do my standard job, and after I get my standard job, I make time for my side hustles so that I can make like more money to kind of maintain the lifestyle I want to live and keep up this training bill that I am basically running up. So I'm working on that. So I feel like the reason why I'm feeling like that, I don't know, I'm just gonna move past that because I feel like I've expressed that a lot. But I guess that was also a transition of like getting into a new place, finding out how the city runs, the ins and outs, trying to get my feet firm on the ground, and train. That was my mindset. That's one transition, and it became like, you know, so busy that I didn't notice that I wasn't actually like really receiving all that I was doing. I was just kind of like letting it happen, just going through it, just trying to get to the next thing. So yeah, that's that. So the next thing that I want to talk about is just the feeling of being stuck. So while I've been here, I've been doing a lot of networking, and while being in class and training, you meet a lot of people, different dancers who know different people who performed or can put in a good word for you. And I made it like my focus to gain dancer friends because I need access into this world. And some saying always rings in my head that says, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I know that I am not the best dancer there is in the world, which is why I came here, because I wanted to train with who I deem the best. So it's important for me to make those connections because I need to know what studios are like, that has the best choreographer, who's gonna push you, who's gonna basically get you to where you need to be, who's gonna train you in a way that's selfless to them. And when I say that, I mean I'm learning that in this industry that it's a dog eat dog world. So this person will only help you enough to the point where you don't pass them or surpass them. So if you look like you are about to come for their throne, they will no longer help you anymore. And that's what I've been learning from just people who I've been coming into contact with. Those are the repetitive things that are being said to me. Be careful, don't trust anyone, be yourself. Confusing, yes, I know. Like, how can I be myself? Which is very open. I'm not a trusting person, but I'm open. I find it that it's easier to find out where to be if you know the right person. And that's what I've been focusing on, trying to get like that. So I've gained some friends, and I've been training and getting, like, I feel like I've been developing, and that led me to an opportunity for me to get my first gig. And my first gig was amazing, you guys. So I want to discuss that a little bit more. So I'm going to go and let you guys have like a breather, and then we're going to come back and discuss that. Thank you guys so much for listening to Dear 20-something.
You wasn't there when I was alone. Say that you care when really you don't. It's all in your actions, none of my fault. 'Cause I'm the kind you put to the side whenever you want. There must be something to hide. Feel like when you're on my line, there's someone around that's there to cut. So do me a favor, show me the paper. I'm not in the mood.
Alright, you guys, welcome back to Dear 20-something. It's your girl, ittybittyjhay. So, I want to discuss my first gig here in Atlanta, Georgia. I need y'all to give me some claps. I need some claps. I need some bombs to drop something. See, we ain't got those type of graphics yet. So, I'm just going to have to clap myself. Do a few snaps. Snaps for me, thank you. But yeah, so my first gig, it was a pretty much I had to try out, I had to audition for this. They were having a fashion show for a young man who was shot, I believe, and I guess they have a week for him every year where they do giveaways, they do a fashion show, they have like a car show, I believe. They do a couple of other things within his name. So it was a high demand fashion show, and one of the choreographers at one of the studios that I train at, she recommended that I come and audition. And so I did so. I auditioned for it. We got it. And we were to be the entertainment segment for the fashion show, so like the intermission. So we had a few practices leading up to it. It was a little frustrating for me because it was not a paid gig, which is why I haven't started to call myself a professional dancer, because I've learned while being here to be a professional dancer, you have to get paid for a gig, and that's where you can start your career. So it was my first gig, but it wasn't paid. But honestly, I was really just thankful and grateful for the opportunity. Within the window of which I was trying to move to Atlanta from August to December, I was supposed to be in Alabama and trying to get enough money to move here with the security net and everything. That didn't work out. So with me being here, within that window of time, I've managed to get a gig, and I was really proud of myself, and I was really grateful and thankful for the opportunity. So this opportunity to me looked like exposure, like it was literally an opportunity. So that's what I took it as. The training and stuff became a bit more rigorous because it seemed as though I was basically spending more money than I was making. So they kind of played with my mental, and like, I like to say that I am open to change, but I guess I'm slow to change. Like, I'm open to it, but my mind has to formulate in a certain way for me to kind of get the big picture of it all. And that could be just a Virgo thing. I don't know. But like, I'm over analyzing everything. Like I'm questioning whatever. But nonetheless, the training was good. The choreographer definitely pushed me, and I learned so much while, this stuff happening. And it was a lot happening for me that week. So I really was kind of like in a weird space. I was grateful, but I was like in a weird head space where it was kind of like I was a bit more flustered. And not to mention, I had seen 3 car accidents that weekend, one which I had seen a lady fly out of her car. So I was really flustered with all of this stuff. So the day of the gig, it was fine. The setup was kind of like, it was whatever. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was fine. And I met these great people. It was so many people there, and they were waiting for us. We went out there, we killed it. I got footage of it. It was great, and I enjoyed the experience, and I made some connections and network. But I looked at this experience as, this is my first step into this world and how things run. I had like a weird feeling inside before I started performing. Typically, when I'm about to perform, I have this overwhelming nervousness that I can't shake. And over the years, I kind of use that as my secret weapon to push me to go harder, because I don't want, which I learned in ROTC when I was in high school, because I don't want people to know that I'm nervous. I have to overcompensate with my energy so that I go harder, so that you don't think that I missed a step. Typically, that's how I am. In this situation, that wasn't the case. I wasn't nervous at all. And I was afraid that, when they say that when you lose your nervousness for something, that means you lose the love for it, and that could never happen with dance. So I was a bit confused as to why I was just really just kind of ready to get it over with. And as I questioned that further, I guess I really wanted support there. Like, I was feeling weird because I didn't have nobody there with me in the crowd, which brought me to another thought. Why am I feeling like that? Because for most of my life, I hadn't, other than my friends, I didn't have support when it came to my performances and choreography and stuff like that too. So this wasn't different. I was used to that. So why is it that this time I'm feeling like I just really want support here? It could have been a number of things. It seems as though everybody there knew each other already. I didn't. I was in an unfamiliar place, so that took me out of my comfort zone. I think it's I didn't have jitters or anything. So I was just I was really, in my mind, I was just trying to get it done. Let's get this over with so I can go home. And I don't know. So once I got out there, I turned up, I got it done, and then I proceeded to go home. I gave them a thank you, I was appreciative of it and whatever. And then after that, it just felt like nothing. What do I do now? What's the next step? That's what I'm waiting on. And that's what I mean by feeling stuck. I feel like I'm stuck in between, okay, what's the next? And I ain't really trying to do nothing, but I have to find the middle ground in between that. So why is it that, because all last week I felt like, can I please just have a break, please? So I'm not sure how is it that it's so easy for me to feel like that 1 minute, and then the next minute feel like, dang, I'm not doing enough. What's next? I have too much time on my hands. That's probably what they say, what men mean when they say women are so indecisive. I don't know. So right now I'm in a space of feeling I could be doing more what am I not doing, and why am I not pushing myself harder? And I just have to remember to kind of like take it easy on myself and make sure that I do take the time to recharge and kind of map up my next move, because I don't want to just get in so many different things where I can't do them effectively. I'd rather have quality over quantity, because at that point you burn out and then you have nothing to show for it. So I want to make sure that everything that I'm doing is elevating me to the place that I desire to be. So yesterday, I made it a point to make sure that I kind of recenter myself, and I built like this structure of like how I want my weeks to run and what I want to do on the weekends, and reaching out to people and networking, because I'm making it a point to do these things. Like, I am sure that I'm gonna get hit with these type of thoughts again, but I want to make sure I have the proper tools to navigate myself out of that rat race of like just never ending doubts and thoughts of like that's gonna drag you down, and reconstruct that with just helpful tools and just ways to implement good work. And much like myself and many others, it's so easy to give advice about how to be positive, how to go about things to others, but the hard part is taking it for yourself and applying it to your own life. So I can be the go-to person for, bitch, you need to get your shit together, but then I fall short when it comes to myself. So I need to have that same energy that I have with other people with myself. I need to have that same energy all the time around the board. So I made it a point, and I'm really good at constructing structure, but I have a hard time with consistency. So I know that these are the areas where I can improve. So I'm working on that. And I'm going to be putting these podcasts, trying to get some visuals for them to put on my YouTube channel. I just got access back into the channel. So I have my subscribers there. And I know that some people are visual people. It's not going to be me like on camera. It's probably just going to be me in some type of like logo or avatar or something like that. I'm trying to get this stuff going, you guys. And I just have to I'm working on myself, and which is why I'm happy that we come here, because this is what this is for. We're all just having a conversation, and we're just being transparent. So those are my thoughts on transitions and just feeling stuck. I guess I want to leave off with a helpful tip to make sure you stay centered. Mind, body, and soul. Work on your mind. Read something that's gonna elevate you to the next level. You're never too old to learn. Knowledge and wisdom is power. Body. Do something to enhance your physical appearance in a way that you deem desirable to yourself. So that could be anything from yoga, exercising, dancing, stretching, whatever you need to do to build your body and your soul. Talk to someone of higher power, a greater being, the person you pray to. Nourish your soul. And with these helpful tools, these are the things that help me get back aligned and centered. It could be a number of anything, different things, but put them in the areas of mind, body, and soul, and I can assure you that you'll be moving in the right direction. This is your girl, ittybittyjhay. This is Dear 20-something. And remember, you're not alone in this. You just feel that way because you haven't listened to me yet. Thank you for listening to Dear 20-something. This is your girl, ittybittyjhay.
But never replace all that I gave you, all that I am. You're just a boy who can't be a man.